everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk Conflict podcast. My name's Evie, I'm going to be your host today. I'm just going to go around and do a little check-in with everyone, and we're going to describe with one word how we're feeling today. So let's start off with Shanika.
Hi everyone, I am feeling tired today.
Thank you, Shanika. Next, let's go to Alice.
I'm feeling oddly exhilarated for this time in the evening, but I'm alright.
Lovely. Let's go to Will.
I guess I'm just feeling natural.
And Anya, how are you feeling today?
Now I'm feeling very full. I've just eaten dinner, so I'm content.
That's a good way to be.
Yeah.
I'd probably say I'm feeling quite optimistic. Today's episode, we're going to be exploring our relationship with ourselves and with self-care, but we're going to think about what our relationship was like when we was younger and when we were teenagers. So as first question for today is, how would you describe your relationship with yourself when you was younger? First of all, let's go to Alice.
I think that my relationship with myself when I was younger was fraught and quite neglected. I didn't realise that you had to nurture a relationship with yourself when I was younger. I thought it was just that's how it is. You just go along with your day and it's all fine. And it's not until I got a bit older that I realised actually you have to talk with yourself and like you would another person. You know, if you were stood in the same room as a person rushing around doing your stuff, you wouldn't develop a relationship with that person. So yeah, you have to kind of treat it like that. But yeah, I was very distant from myself when I was younger.
Shanika, have you got anything you would like to add?
Yes, I'm a bit similar to Alice as well. For me, because I went through a lot of rejection and abandonment, I didn't have that relationship with myself. I felt that being accepted and being loved was the only thing. But then again, you have this conflict of feeling that you're not looking after yourself. Like you have these negative thoughts or you'll do something and you don't want to do it, but you're doing it because you want to be accepted. So it's that conflict of, wanting to be loved and not looking after yourself at the same time. So you have this constant conflict. So yeah, that was me. So I rejected myself.
I get that completely. Thank you for sharing that with us. Will, have you got anything you would like to say?
I was actually one of the lucky ones. I didn't have it really as hard as a lot of people. I've been in that many groups that I've had a bunch of things done for me.
Don't feel guilty, enjoy it. Trust me.
Anya, how would you describe your relationship to your younger self?
I suppose I had a constant battle with myself growing up. I was kind of constantly arguing with what I was doing. It's like growing up, I was kind of possessed, if that makes sense. So it's I knew it wasn't me and I knew it wasn't how I wanted to be. I wanted to be the angel that people wanted me to be. I wanted to get as far as my sister did. I wanted to be the good one as well as my sister, but people just saw me as the bad one and my sister as the little angel. So I was the devil, she was the angel. I don't know. I constantly hated myself growing up. Yeah, I didn't have a good relationship with myself. I never looked in the mirror and thought, I'm proud of myself. I always thought I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to be who I am, where I am. I constantly went through life putting myself down, and then it kind of impacted on me a lot more because other people were then putting me down as well. So it's like people had their opinion on me and their opinion became true. So I became the opinion that they were saying I was. So yeah, it was a terrible, childhood where I just didn't know who I was.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That sounds really hard, and I think it's a really difficult stage being a teenager in general, but especially if you're in the care system. There's a lot more issues I think that you have to face, and I think there's a lot of issues as a young person that you've got on top of you, but you just don't know how to fathom, and you might not even realise that there are these issues that are there at the time. Just like coming back and thinking personally, my relationship to my younger self, and like connecting with what you guys have just said, I forgot what that bloody word is, but you know, when you just connect with other people, you understand what they're saying. I completely felt you in a lot of that. I felt really disconnected to myself. Like I didn't know who I was really. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I enjoyed. Coming back to what other people have said, like I would people please instead of making myself happy, because that's what I thought was making myself happy, but really I wasn't. I was making other people happy and doing what they wanted to do instead of myself. And like I was really negative about things as well. I never took the time to be positive. I focused a lot on the negatives, like Anya was just saying. I would constantly put myself down about things, but I'd never be grateful for anything. I'd never think about the good things that I've got and be grateful for the little things that I've got, or look at the little things that I like about myself. I would always be so negative. And I think that's why my self-care regime and relationship with myself, it was just non-existent, because I wasn't in that place to be. I didn't have the tools at that time. I didn't know what I know now. And if I did, I'd have implemented it. Just the little things, and being aware that I was being really negative. It's easy to think, I don't like this, don't like that, I don't like this. But at the same time, you are stuck with yourself. So find something you do like about yourself, you know, because not everything's bad. There's lots of good things that you should appreciate as well. You need to put yourself first, you know. It's all good and well being there for a friend or a family member or someone else, but you do really need to think about your needs. And just thinking about the little things, I think looking back to me personally, I'd have been like, well, how am I supposed to feel like this when I don't believe it? You know, why would I tell myself, oh, I'm beautiful, when I don't believe it? But I think a really strong thing is just doing that anyway, you know, just still saying that. There's like, I'm sure I've read it somewhere, there's some sort of scientific proof that if you keep reassuring yourself and keeps repeatedly saying this same thing to yourself, then later on down the line, it does start to sink in, like your mindset changes a little bit and you do start to feel more positive about things. So even if you don't believe it at that time or you can't see it, like that's okay. You know, certain things don't just hit you like that. You don't just all of a sudden wake up and think, oh my God, I love myself. And, you know, everything's great. I feel really positive about things. Everything takes time, and it's the little steps that make the biggest changes, you know, just by every day thinking about one little thing that you are grateful for or that you like, that potentially in the long run could really help you.
Yeah, when you were just saying about the whole like loving yourself thing and why should I say it if it's not true, I remember when I was younger, people used to be like, oh, you're so beautiful, you know, you need to treat yourself nice and say nice things to yourself. And I said, like, why don't believe it, and why should I like love myself? Why should I think I'm beautiful? Nobody else does. And then as I started to love myself and tell myself that I'm beautiful, well, now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to say that I do think I'm the most amazing, beautiful person in the whole entire world. And it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter now what other people think. Like, that's the beauty of it. If you love yourself, you don't need anyone in the rest of the world to think you're beautiful, because you've got it all yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's the best thing. Like, honestly, you guys need to get onto this self-love. It's so good. Like, you can't get over how good it is.
Yeah, I think something that that you've just lightly touched on, and something that I did, was expect my happiness to come from other people. Expect you know, everything to come from other people. Like, you have to make your own happiness. You know, you have to make yourself happy. You have to learn to like the things that you enjoy doing. You know, spend time with yourself. Get to know yourself. What type of music do you like? Do you like reading? What type of books do you like? What type of things do you like watching? Like, learn to know yourself and like the things that you do, so that you've got certain things that you enjoy doing, so that you can then make yourself happy by doing things you enjoy. It doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg by spending lots of money doing things. It can be free. Just, don't put your happiness on other people. Don't, you've not got to look for their gratification. You've not got to look for them to say, oh, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that, you're, intelligent. You have to say them things to yourself and believe them things yourself before anyone else comes close.
Yeah, sitting on your own, like in your own company. I used to do that a lot when I was younger, and I still do. And I think that's something that builds, because you're sat in yourself, you're sat in your own head, and you do end up doing things that you like because maybe you get a bit bored. But learning to sit in your own company, I think, is really important, because you just become like comfortable.
Shanika, is there something you wanted to say?
Yeah, just to add on to it about, things that you can do to help. I guess not comparing yourself with others is a good thing. Don't do that, because we're all different. We're all going through different struggles. And again, the media, try and limit your media usage.
Yeah.
A lot of the pictures and images on the media in music videos have been photoshopped. They're not real.
Mm-hmm.
So do not compare yourself with those, and find role models. Find people that, that probably from your own background or probably have a similar life experience to yourself, that, have done well or have written a book or have done like different videos on stuff that they've been through. For example, Oprah Winfrey, she had a difficult childhood, and she normally shares her stories online. And I think there's a website on Facebook called Goldcast, and it just shares motivational stories of people who have been through a hard life and have overcome. I found that helpful, because it kind of gave me hope that things can change and it can turn out good despite of the start that you have in life. So stuff like that helps, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that 100%. I think one thing we should look at is, what advice would we give to our younger self to improve his relationship with ourselves? So, Shanika, would you like to go first?
All right. For me, I would say tune in to when you're feeling sad or unhappy. Tune into why you're feeling that way and sit with the emotion, not kind of use food or music or something to distract it, but sit in and understand why you're feeling that way. Understand that your emotions and feelings, need to be looked at, and they're important just like anyone else. Like the love that you'll give to somebody else, give that love to yourself. Yes, and just be present.
Love that. Alice, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I know this is such a cliche, but like, study, stay in school. I am still in education now, but I think I'd have got a lot further if I'd have applied myself, because like all my predicted grades were so high, and I ended up coming out with not very good. Like in comparison with what I could achieve, it wasn't good enough for me, and I felt when I was younger I was so angry all the time, and because that anger was so uncomfortable for me, I would not go to school because I can't be dealing with that today. So, because I couldn't cope with the surroundings and the unpredictability of what would happen that day and what would set me off, and I'd feel like a ticking time bomb. So I'd just always be flunking school. I'd be getting up to no good because it was exciting. It took my mind off the anger or the frustration I was feeling. So like Shanika said, like, sit with it, because it does pass. But yeah, like if I'd have done that, I would have done much better at school.
Yeah, I agree with that. I preach that as well.
Yeah.
Will, what advice would you give your younger self?
Get out my comfort zone a bit more, even if it is to do something difficult. Because of one saying I've actually heard recently, conflict builds character.
Yeah, I like that.
Hashtag conflict builds character.
I've never heard that saying before, but I like that. Maybe that should be a little slogan for us.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that sprung to my mind when you've just said that is, nothing good ever comes from within your comfort zone. So like, the more you push yourself, the more amazing the return might be for you. So I love that. I love what you've just said about coming out of your comfort zone a little bit more. Anya, what advice would you give your younger self?
I was just thinking of some quotes, and I came across one that says, difficult roads often lead to a beautiful destination. And I think that to tell that to my younger self would, in my words, mean just because, you know, life is difficult through care, and whether you're living in care or with parents and stuff like that, as you get older, you're going to maybe like become like a beautiful flower, you know, in a beautiful destination.
Yeah, I love that quote. I think that's a really good quote to stand by. I think rounding it off for myself, what I would say to my younger self is a combination of everything everyone's just said then. But I think something that really hit me hard was what Shanika said about just sitting with your emotions and actually thinking it's okay to not be okay. Like, that is actually a really big thing, you know. Things are shit sometimes, and just acknowledging that is really hurtful to you, and to not mask them emotions or act self-destructively to try and cover them emotions, because you can sit with them and things can get better. And just to be more grateful, try and be more grateful for the little things that you've got. Try and be more positive. Don't look so much onto the negative side. Try to just find things you will like about yourself. I think one good way to round this episode off would be to think about one thing we are grateful for today is. Will, if you would like to go first.
Yes, finally getting some news on when this lockdown's actually going to end.
Yeah, I think everyone's...
40s.
Yeah, everyone's grateful for that. I think that's a good one to say. Alice, what are you grateful for today?
My strong will.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one too. Shanika, what's yours?
My determination, and just sharing with you guys and seeing that even though we're from all different parts of the country, we still share common experiences. So, you know, that's really, you know, it's good to have these conversations.
Yeah.
Anya, what's something that you're grateful for today?
I'm grateful for my family during lockdown. The first lockdown, they helped me out a lot in the first lockdown with my mental health deteriorating and stuff like that. So I think I literally owe my life to my parents mostly, and my auntie. So yeah.
I think what I'd be grateful for today is you guys, just having this like space to talk to you guys. Just like, it's so helpful, you know, just to chat about things sometimes, and just to know that you're not alone. Other people experience similar feelings or similar emotions or go through similar scenarios. I'm just grateful for having you guys. I'm grateful for having this platform to be able to talk about some of these things and hopefully give some other young people hope, or other people hope on how to manage things better. But thank you so much for sharing all this, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Conflict.
We'd love to hear from you, so if you'd like to get in touch, you can reach us on Let's Talk Conflict at leapcc.org.uk, or find us on Twitter and Instagram at leap_cc.
This podcast has been produced in partnership with Leap Confronting Conflict and edited by Helena Webb.
Let's Talk Conflict has been supported by the Esme Fairbairn Foundation, the Kurt and Magda Stern Foundation, the Treebeard Trust, and the Rain Foundation.
Thank you for listening. Join us again next week, where we'll be discussing conflict with social workers, the importance of honesty, empathy, and trust, and what an ideal social worker looks like.